My inbox is one of those areas where I've directed my perfectionism. Assuming you'd all appreciate some quick and dirty tips on how to better manage your email, or even better your mindset around email, I'm making this video today. Accepting that I'm having a hard time dealing with my email and have some sort of weird email complex, I have been working on dealing with that for the past couple of years. If this is an area you struggle with too, just know that you are not alone. In fact, this is such a problem and often deemed email anxiety that there are several books on the topic that I have in fact read. A couple of the books I've read include The Organized Admin by Julie Perrin and The Happy Inbox by Mara Neville Thomas. Strategy 1 is from the book The Happy Inbox. It is called using the TEST method. TEST as in T-E-S-S-T. This means that you'll take every email that comes into your inbox and run it through the filter of T-E-S-S-T, which stands for 1, take immediate action, so deal with it right now. 2, empower others and thereby yourself, so getting this off your email or off your plate and into someone else's where it makes sense. S is to suspend it to your task list. In other words, your email is not your to-do list. Your email is just a way to get content for your to-do list. In other words, once you've moved it to your to-do list, you can move it out of your inbox, but then once you're about to check it off your to-do list, you can reply back to the email. The second S is to store it for future reference. If this is something you think you'll need to refer back to, then put it in some sort of storage, electronic filing system, folder system right within your inbox, and that's it. Don't feel like you need to read every newsletter that comes into your inbox. If you think that you'll later be pulling resources from it or from a certain topic, put it in a folder that's called newsletters so you know where to find it. Finally, the T stands for trash it. This is probably my favorite. These are the 5 and the only 5 actions that you are allowed to take when it comes to an email in your inbox. So start with one email, pick your task choice, and go with it. Also, going along with this, running through your email inbox then shouldn't take a ton of time because you should be mining it for what you actually have to do rather than going through back and forth from email to the actual task that you're doing back and forth. Instead, you're gonna batch that stuff. You're gonna quick run through the email, filter out what you actually need to do that day, and then close out of your email. We'll get to that later. Strategy number 2 is actually called, maybe it's not an email. I think that in corporate related world, people have forgot the other available communication channels that exist. If you find that this email chain is going back and forth for what seems like forever, maybe this should be a phone call. Maybe this should be a video call. Maybe this is something that can fit in an already scheduled meeting. So you said, let's just talk about it in this meeting that's already scheduled. Maybe it's not an email. So I suggest inviting people to take things offline. Strategy 3 is to let it go. You do not need to address and read through and click all the links and whatever in every email that comes across your inbox. You just don't. So don't be a perfectionist when it comes to mail that you receive. If you have 100 newsletter subscriptions, so every time, no matter what, you go into work the next day, it's been 12 hours and you've got 100 emails and they're all from not direct people that you actually work with. If you don't need it that day, delete it. If you don't need it ever, unsubscribe. Spring clean that, if you will. If you end up needing the newsletter for a legit reason in the future, you can resubscribe. There are also ways to find past newsletter editions on people's websites. So like if they have a MailChimp or something, you can actually go and look at their past newsletters. Strategy 4 is probably my favorite, and that is called, sorry, my inbox is closed. So this is a strategy that means you cannot have your email inbox up all day. Or if you're gonna have it up next to you, you cannot just keep replying to things that come in while you're doing something else. This is sort of referring to something called monotasking, so doing one thing at once. Let's not make our brains jump back and forth between thing I'm currently writing and, oh, this email just came in, I'm gonna jump into that. Some of our brains very much like to jump between tasks. I'm thinking of those who live with ADHD, for example. Others of us, I do think that our brain is just kind of wired for that dopamine hit. So like, oh, if that looks like something I can quickly respond to, I'll quick jump in there and respond. But again, now I've taken a break from this when really it'd be a better use of my time to close my inbox. It's closed. It's closed for the next hour. I'm not going to be opening it. Literally, and other people can know too. Like, I'm not going to be on my email. If you need me, you can send me a chat, or don't need me. Simple as that. In a way, this is like using your inbox as a processing center and not an actual to-do list, and you only check it a certain number of times a day to process through that email all at once and then roll into the other parts of your day. If you do need to tell your coworkers or your supervisor that to get in the practice of chatting you instead of emailing you when something is urgent, do that, because it's interesting. Usually it'd be custom to reply to emails within a few days. It's becoming a little bit different now within organizations, and people are expecting an email much faster. That actually kind of leads me to strategy 5, which is to understand your reciprocal vibes. So in other words, if you get an email and you reply back really fast, that person is going to start making the assumption that that's something you do, and that you can immediately be reached by email because you tend to do this. This will keep you glued to your email because you know that whenever people are emailing you, it's urgent. If this is not an immediate email, do not reply to it immediately. Give it time. This is only going to help yourself in the long run. This is going to help your pace in the long run, and this is going to help other people know how important this thing actually is, if that makes sense. If this is something they need from you ASAP, they should know, call me, call me. So understand those reciprocal vibes that you're putting out. And finally, strategy 6 is it depends on the day. Some days you're gonna be so much busier and not have as much time to process through your emails or to read them as leisurely, for example. On those days, go through them quickly. Delete more than you usually would. Other times you're gonna have time to catch up on email. Use that to catch up on email. I actually find that I'm probably catching up on email every other day. I would like to get into the habit of doing it every day. So it's like in the morning, it becomes my processing center, or in the end of the day, it becomes my processing center, or both. But for right now, it really seems to be every second day I'm able to actually address the things in my inbox after actually doing the things that I had to get done. So I'm experimenting with that. I know this can feel like kind of a trivial thing to be stressed about or to be worried about on a daily or weekly basis, something like your email inbox and a number that's attached to it. But I think it's legitimate for the day and age that we live in, especially based on whatever your company culture is. It's totally dependent. And I also think making small changes or small rebellions around email, so for example, not replying within 2 minutes, can start to actually ease anxiety and help things that way. If you enjoyed this video, do make sure that you are subscribed, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.